Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Perry. Welcome to our Atlanta townhome. Please come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, I'm Perry Walter. I'm an interior designer in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're in my townhome. I think it all started when I was younger at my grandparents' house. I used to go and rearrange furniture there, and also in my parents' house. Started early, and then in school I enjoyed working with furniture, fabric, colors, and it all started from that point. And then when I moved to Atlanta, that's when it really took off here. It all started in college. I originally started out as an art major and then switched to interior design and went from there. I'm originally from South Carolina, so have somewhat of a southern accent occasionally. And I enjoy doing interior design here in Atlanta, Georgia now. Been doing this for probably 18, 19 years. I live here with James, my partner, and we found the home through a real estate agent. A friend of mine showed us the development starting in Atlanta, and we were able to build the house from the ground up, from the foundation to the walls, selecting materials, finishes, countertops, lighting, paint colors, floor finish, plumbing fixtures, you name it, it's started there. And then I went and developed a plan for the furnishings and decoration and paint colors and window treatments, and it all came together after probably about a year. Welcome to our home. As you can see, there's no foyer. And we divided it into 3 spaces. There's the kitchen, dining, and living space. And let me take you into the living room first. I started with the marine blue rug to kind of represent the water, I think, for being in Italy and Amalfi Coast. And then did light colors with the furniture and textured fabrics, indoor-outdoor durability. And the pillows have a little bit of blue-green. I think that brings in different colors, geometric drapery. I like that because it just brings in texture and pattern for the space. Also brought in some natural textures with the grass cloth end tables. And an interesting idea I did was I like coffee table books, so I stacked them all down here underneath for color. And also we did a deep seating sofa, which I think is good for lounging, watching TV, have friends over. For the chess set here that we have, it's more so a prop. It's just for color. I think it's interesting to bring in color to your house. So that's why we did that. And then a funny, interesting, when I was designing the room, the coffee table here, which is a rootwood coffee table. James did not like that, but I did. I thought it was interesting, brought in a lot of warmth and kind of natural aspect for the home. So that was one of my purchases and not a shared cost. Kind of interesting thought there. And then we have this interesting, cool, 2 guys skateboarding. It's done by a local artist out of Greenville, South Carolina. And it just brings in warm tones to the house. I think it's fun, interesting piece, conversational. And again, just brought in different pieces, collected pieces from all over the world. This is from London. Found this in a cool little antique place. I think in the South, people tend to possibly be more traditional, but I try to put a spin on it and doing more modern and do a lot of color with my design and pattern and mix in vintage and kind of modern pieces so it gives a more clean aesthetic depending on the client. I think my love of color comes from my art background. When I was a kid, started playing with art and colors that way. And bringing color to a house, I think you can do things like bring it in with a rug, bring color in with the pillows is a good way to do it. I don't think you should always have your sofa a color unless you're going to be married to it. You can do it a different way by putting in color like with one chair, and that way you can reupholster it 5 years from now. If you don't like it, change it. I like plants and trees in a space. I think it's great to bring in live plants. I'm not a fan of faux. So I brought in bird of paradise tree, or a large plant here, and like a lot of just small plants placed around the space. And then over here, I think this is, they call it a money tree. So hopefully that brings good luck. Keeping plants alive, I think, is watering and the light. I think you have to kind of read the directions and just be sensitive to what their needs are. But overwatering is the worst thing you can do, but limit your water and give it some sunlight, and those should bloom and be good. The inspiration for our home here came from the Amalfi Coast. I've been there a couple times, and we traveled quite a bit abroad. So I took a lot of colors from the Amalfi Coast, like the aquas, marine blues, from the green foliage. I tried to incorporate, even in our wood floors here in our home, the sand color and the ocean colors, the blues. As far as the style goes, I would say it's modern with a little vintage mixed in there, just for interest, and gives you a little bit more interesting pieces when you walk through the house. I think the first step for a home, in any home, a project that I work with, is usually the rug and the paint colors, the walls, and then you build from there, go into the window treatments, start selecting furniture, the fabrics, the case goods, the wood tones, and then bring in lighting and lamps and accessories and artwork. I think the most prized possession is the vintage piece, the chrome and mirrored console. It's a large piece. You could use it in a dining area, or we use it as a media console, and we keep a lot of things stored away inside, and has a lot of drawers and cabinetry below, and you can put all kind of things and tuck them away in there so people can't see it. But I think it's reflective. I think it kind of disappears in this space, and it houses our large TV on top of there. So now we'll move into the dining area. There are no doors, it's all an open floor plan. This really cool, interesting vignette here. I found this artist out of California. It's a plastered waterfall table. Had it commissioned and for size and scale. I thought it was really interesting. Just did it in white, so it kind of disappears. I like the artistic form of it. And then also the art piece here is done by an artist out of Nashville. I like birds and color and butterflies, and just I think it's an interesting piece of kind of birds in flight. And I brought in a little bit more color with these cool ottomans here that kind of roll around. So you have additional seating if you want to pull it over to the living space. Then you can display your family photos, have a little vintage lamp here, which I think is really interesting, brings in warmth and texture to the space. And then we move into the dining table. I have a ashwood top table. It's hand painted. You can see the wood grain in the table. And these are vintage chairs that I had recovered, blue on the front, and then I did a little stripe textured indoor-outdoor fabric on the back. Brought in these vintage green glasses from my grandparents. Kind of inherited that from my parents, so I thought it was kind of fun and interesting just to entertain with, either with drinks or desserts. And then we have more artwork over here. Local artist out of Athens, Georgia. She does a lot of abstracts. I like all the color in here. Just throws in everything imaginable to pink, yellow, blues, green. Just had her commission that, and I thought this kind of brings a lot of color into the space, into our home. So now we'll move to the kitchen. It's an all-white kitchen. I think I like the clean, crisp look of the white kitchen. A lot of people don't, but I think it's enjoyable. You can change colors here easily. We did a marble countertop, which needs a little bit of care and maintenance occasionally. Brought in a lot of color with the bar stools, counter stools here. Did an indoor-outdoor fabric. It's great for, like I said, families, kids. It's wipeable, durable. Kind of gives a 70s vibe with the chrome on the back side of it and the round curves. And so then we did these industrial pendant lights. I think are really interesting and white to kind of give it a modern spin. And just kept it kind of clean and simple. Did the backsplash tile in a gloss and a matte finish and alternated that and went all the way up to the ceiling. Brought in a lot of warm tones with the boards and the shades to give a little bit of warmth to it. So I tend to be a super organized person. I like everything organized in my life, from my clothes to my shoes to my sock drawer. So I do everything, keep it all kind of organized. James tends to be not as organized as I am, but that's okay. But I'll take you into my pantry, and you can see how organized that is. So we put in a lot of things that, just keep it all kind of consistent, organized, pastas to coffee to snacks, condiments, canned goods, water, and then a wallpaper to the ceiling to kind of bring in a little fun with this citrus lime type of wallpaper for a different color. It has a yellow and a blue color tone to it. So I think it really kind of pops and makes it fun, interesting space for a pantry. You can make it fun. It doesn't have to be boring. So it's all open space. Everybody sees it, so that's why it's super organized. So I keep everything kind of lined up, and there's certain things that we like and we eat a lot, so I just keep a stock of it. And we do have we have some chips and things like that, but I tend to kind of try to keep things healthy. We have snacks down here with like granola bars and fig bars, and then we have the chips over there for chips and salsa night, margaritas, and have some few cookbooks up here. I just stacked them up for visual so I can see everything and take it down quickly. But yeah, it's a super organized space. And then on this side, I tend to do all the glassware. These are vintage from my grandparents. I found this in an antique store. And then just other things that go down, and just use that for entertaining when we have people over to our house. I think what I love most about my house is that it's like walking into like you're on vacation. The colors are very bright and cheerful and bring a lot of joy. So I think it's very uplifting and can be soothing at certain times of the day too, as well. Now let me take you into our powder room, but first I need to show you some really cool artwork I found. This is by an artist here in Atlanta. It's called Two Kings, obviously, James and I represent those. And then over here we have a felt artist out of Charleston, South Carolina. We have Oprah and Jackie O. And then on top we have a Nashville artist that does op art, a lot of colorful graphic patterns and colors there. I think it's really cool, so it's interesting. So let me show you the powder room here. What's really interesting about this space is I used cork wallpaper that has a texture and kind of a soundproofing kind of vibe to it. And then I did just marble Carrara topped counter, and then I have a vintage Italian cockatoo for color. I think it's kind of fun, and it's just a small intimate space to wash your hands and move on from there. So this is our primary bedroom. I love the green color. Green's one of my favorite colors to use in decorating. I think it's kind of energetic and fun. So on the back wall here, I did a drapery treatment all the way across because there's windows back behind here. They're offset. They're not even. And the back view of here is not a great view. So I just covered the wall entirely with drapery. I think it makes cool use of the space. And then we did the same thing. It's indoor-outdoor fabric. So from there, brought in more natural elements with the grass cloth nightstands. And I did some vintage lamps here to kind of throw in a little vintage flair to it. And also a vintage chair covered in white, and brought in these like fun, cool, colorful pillows here. And the artwork up here is from a photographer. We had dinner there, or lunch there. On the Amalfi Coast, that's Capri. And for the bedding, I tend to use white for bedding. And I like it kind of crisp and clean and So then I did some fun blue patterned pillows and did the ball pillow to kind of make it more interesting, bring it to a different color, represents water. And from there, also did like an over-dyed rug here for the space. And I think that just brings in like another texture to the room. And also I did this vintage owl with kind of funny looking eyes. I think it's interesting. So the vintage owl is from a local antique dealer. I just found it there, and I thought it'd be kind of cool in the space. And we also have this interesting, they call it I think a Juliet window. So you can see outside, you can see all the neighbors, spy on everybody, see who's doing what in the neighborhood. And I brought in some warm wood tones with the dresser here. So we did walnut on the face and then a white top. We did another piece from the artist downstairs with a bird. She did this kind of gold leaf background. I think it's kind of cool and fun, colorful. And then the artwork is a photography piece that I took the photograph in Barcelona when we were there a couple years back. And I think it's kind of a cool, just brings in color and kind of a zoomed in shot of the rooftop of the apartment in Barcelona. Now we're in the master primary bathroom. It's an all-white bathroom. For an all-white space with a lot of white walls, I tend to do colorful pieces of art. I took this photograph when we went to Capri, just a snapshot with my iPhone, and enlarged it on canvas. So I think it's a fun way to add color to a space without spending a lot of money. And it's an open white space here. Octagon-shaped tiles on the floor, and we repeated that in the shower with a simulated porcelain tile that looks like marble. Now we're in the hallway. I did a gallery wall with lots of different photography, art pieces, just collected things that I found. I have a piece here from my grandparents. It's like a woven piece hand-painted by my mom when she was little, to my former dog. And then we have family photos from old like 70s photos to a picture of my parents at their wedding that I had enlarged and just framed. I thought it was kind of a cool picture. And then the piece from the church where they were married gets some of the paneling that was taken down a long time ago. So I took that as a memory. And then family pictures of James's family here, trips to Costa Rica, a trip to Miami, and then we move on into the office. And now we're in the home office. I have the ability to work from home, and this is where all the design magic happens, I think. I use a lot of inspiration boards for future projects. I do a lot of wallpaper things. I've actually used a couple of these wallpapers already, and it just kind of, once you see it, you'll do it. So that's kind of my take on that. A lot of textures with grass cloth, and then some hand-painted kind of mural type of panels. And also I did, working on a project right now, so I have all this laid out so I can see how everything looks in an open scheme and kind of everything all together, from carpet to wallpaper to the fabrics, the furniture selections. And it helps me see the whole vision of the whole project. And then I have my desk over here when I have to do a lot of the paperwork and computer work here. And then I separated, again, my organizational kicked in here. So I have all my fabric samples separated by color. So you have the red, orange, yellow, greens, and then blues and purples and neutrals over there. So I like the white space here because I work with a lot of color. So that's why I kept it all white. And that way I can kind of envision and bring in color for projects or keep it neutral depending on the client. And now we're in the guest bedroom, the guest suite. Again, it's all white. Did a little turquoise in here, a little nod to Positano and the Amalfi Coast. Again, photography, I took these photographs on either side of the bed with my iPhone and then had them enlarged and framed. I thought it was kind of cool. Kept the bedside table lamps with these task lamps that are fun. Brought in some vintage pieces, the nightstands with burl wood, kind of bringing in some warmth. I had a custom headboard made, kind of an architectural detail. And then the art piece above brings in all the colors we like here, greens and blues and turquoise. Again, it's a local artist from Nashville, Tennessee. Had her commission that for us. And then also throw in a different color just to kind of throw you off a little bit. And bring in yellow to kind of throw off the color scheme. When James works from home, he has the corner desk space here, which overlooks the neighborhood, just surrounded by turquoise drapery. Can be closed when the sun comes in. And then has a cool lamp here for lighting with a kind of an interesting chair here upholstered in navy. And then the button back, I think is kind of interesting. And it's a great space to look outside and also reflect and also work at the same time. I think home is a place that you're secure, you're safe, you have shelter, you're comfortable, you enjoy the space you're in, whether it's surrounding with artwork and other pieces of your house that make you feel like you're in a comfortable space.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.